From organizing political forums to developing deliberative democracy conversations, Georgia College's Gregg Kaufman is behind it all. Coming up, we'll discuss with him some of his big projects he's working on and take a look back at his last 10 years at Georgia College as he opens up a new chapter of his life. Hello and welcome to this edition of GC Conversations. I'm Brittany Johnson and our guest today is Gregg Kaufman. Gregg, thanks so much for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Gregg, tell us a little bit about what you do here on campus and some of the things that you're involved in.
Well, I have two primary roles. My first role is to coordinate the American Democracy Project. Georgia College is one of 230 universities around the country affiliated with the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, who are a part of the ADP, which really focuses on civic life and helping students become good citizens. And then secondly, I teach. I teach within the Department of Government Sociology, and I've taught a number of courses over the past 10 years. And basically network with people who are teaching and working in the areas of the university community kind of relationship.
Right, so your role is kind of twofold. It's campus and community, and you fall under the umbrella of the Center for Engaged Learning, Teaching, and Scholarship, which does kind of have those roles, both community and here on campus. What is your role through ADP in that office, and how do you facilitate kind of those community engagement projects?
Now, there's really two parts to that center as well. One is really focused on students where they have kind of beyond the classroom learning experiences through service learning, leadership development, nonprofit leadership, and citizenship, which is the ADP part of it. The other thrust of the center is to work with faculty and students in the area of undergraduate research, and to help faculty help one another develop their professional skills that might have a relationship with the community.
And one aspect of that, one of your big projects, not just for this year, but always an ongoing project, is the Community Voices, Your Choices forums that you guys hold here on campus. Explain those to us. I know we've had several recently, had several back in the fall, and I'm sure more to come in the future.
Yes. Over the past number of years, we've worked with college Republicans, Young Democrats, a number of academic student scholarship societies to collaborate on political and civic forums to inform both the campus community and the wider community, relative to elections for Congress or even City Council. This year, a number of organizations came together, the political party organizations and Student Government Association and several others. And we've had a series of forums for the Milledgeville City Council election, the mayoral election. We had the Republican candidates for the Congressional District 10 seat, and most recently, the Democrat candidate for that same seat. And it's become a really good working group. We work with faculty in government sociology in the College of Business and others. And really, we anticipate moving forward into this next year, which will be the midterm election year, and also talk a little bit about the consolidation issue in Baldwin County between Milledgeville and the county. So we look forward to more opportunities to serve both the campus and the community.
And from your perspective, as far as the American Democracy Project goes, partnerships with these organizations on campus, why is this these forums, hosting and helping to organize these forums, why is that something that's important for the engagement of not only our students but also for the community?
Well, a real principle of the American Democracy Project and a passion of mine is to engage citizens in becoming shapers of their own community and to become shapers of an active, vibrant democracy within their own community. Sometimes we elect people and then we kind of sit back and consume their decisions and just the issues that they deal with, and we become disconnected. And so the ADP really tries to help strengthen those connections between students, faculty, and staff, and citizens, and important policy issues of local as well as national importance.
And along that lines, issues that are of importance, you guys actually had a vital role in a recent diversity in education conference. Tell us a little bit about the role that you and your students helped in framing that.
Yes, well, Georgia College and Fort Valley State collaborate on an annual conference into their colleges of education. And it's usually a diversity-oriented conference. So this year they came to us in the fall and they asked if we would be willing to help organize a series of forums where the participants would actually break into groups and spend an hour or more talking about diversity and its importance for education. So we did that, and that happened this past Monday, the 24th of March. There were 215 people who participated in 12 forums, and students from the freshman public deliberation course and upper level rhetoric courses, and former students of mine in public deliberation came together, about 30 of them, and facilitated. And we felt it went very well. And we thought that the Fort Valley and Georgia College students and faculty really got a lot out of the discussion.
Why, in your perspective, was this an important not only topic to cover, but important for your students and the students that you work with to be involved in a conversation of this manner?
Well, one of the things that I really try to do in teaching is to have students engaged beyond the classroom. So while they practice their deliberation and their facilitation in class on a number of issues, I really try to organize one opportunity every semester for them to get beyond the campus, go into the community, work with a church group or a civic group, or in this case a campus initiative, and really get the experience of facilitating with people that they've never met before.
Which is an engaged learning process for our students and also benefits the community.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Greg, for covering those topics. We're going to talk a little bit more of some of the big overriding themes that you're involved in. We'll speak more about that coming up in just a second.
Thanks.
And we'll be back with more of this edition of GC Conversations.
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Look at those pants.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, and this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny. That's not a flower.
We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Take your medicine?
Oh, gosh, I forgot it.
Her nurse,
Need a claim number?
her personal assistant,
Let me just grab a...
her housekeeper, her cook, her accountant. When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving to connect with experts and other caregivers. Together we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
And we're back with this edition of GC Conversations and our guest today, Greg Kaufman. Now, Greg, you were talking about something that's a passion of yours, engaged learning, getting students outside of the classroom to have that hands-on experience in whatever their topic or whatever they're learning at the time. And conveniently, that's actually a portion of our quality enhancement plan that we're in the process of enacting. Engaged learning, getting these students that next step in their learning process. You guys and some students have actually been involved throughout that process as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I'm really pleased that the campus is moving in this direction. We want to become a distinctive university that's recognized for engaging our students while they're learning in the community and the region and even nationally in applying their scholarship. One of the projects that I've been working with my first-year students on is actually a professor interview project, where we are interviewing faculty members and simply asking them what courses they teach that they would consider qualify for a kind of engaged teaching and learning course, and specifically what activities and the way they assess that, and any concerns they have about our institutional initiative called Building a Culture of Engaged Learning. And I'm just really pleased that the students have spent the better part of 2 months and have interviewed and entered data into a software database for 50% of the faculty.
Wow, that is impressive. So how will this information actually be used as we start developing this culture of engaged learning, developing it to the next level here on campus?
I think one of the best first steps when any organization is trying to enhance the quality of their work is to adopt a kind of appreciative inquiry approach and find out what is already happening on campus. So the data that we've received from these faculty, and by name, it's not anonymous, will be able to really go to specific faculty who practice teaching in a specific way or assessing their students in a specific way, and bring them together in small groups and have them actually develop workshops for other faculty who might be interested in their approach to teaching.
And what's interesting about our quality enhancement plan is, although that we're moving in this direction and really trying to amp up our efforts in this, it's not a new concept. We do have faculty members that have been and are currently really engaging students on this next level. So do you hope that that, as you said, kind of helps us build on the process as we move through this?
Absolutely. We do have many people doing this. What we don't have is a story. We don't have a narrative that this is a part of our culture. And so what we want to do is build on a culture that has already begun, but we want to become much more clearly articulated so that people who consider coming to Georgia College will recognize this institution as a place where they can really be engaged both in and beyond the classroom and apply their academic scholarship.
Now, will this outreach to our faculty members continue through this process, interviewing them and keeping up with activities they have going on?
Yes. Well, after the initial stage of this, we have basically a 5-year plan, and faculty will have the opportunity to apply for a series of grants and actually apply for funds to help strengthen their courses or their particular engaged learning initiative. We'll be having workshops for faculty, and again, taking faculty from our university to lead some of these workshops, as well as some external folk as well. But we really see this as building very nicely over the next number of years.
Now, a QEP right now is a major initiative for Georgia College, and another major initiative that was launched by President Dorman last year was our Diversity Action Plan. That is something that you guys have worked very closely with the Office of Institutional Equity and Diversity. You guys were actually kind of the facilitators throughout this process in helping them gather information, right?
Correct. One of our American Democracy projects is called the Public Voice Partnership. We have students, faculty, staff, and community citizens trained as neutral moderators. And so we worked with the Office of Institutional Equity and Diversity and simply offered our services to provide them those facilitators or moderators, and we offered to create a discussion guide. And they took us up on our offer, and in the fall we had 9 forums, 6 on campus and 3 in the community at the Collins P. Lee Center, and had over 200 people involved.
Wow. Now, how was that? You guys actually gathered some information from that process as well from the participants. How was that used as the development of the plan went through? And I know that we're actually getting ready to launch that in the coming weeks.
Yes. It's one thing to facilitate the forums, it's quite another to capture all the information.
Right.
And so we did that, and we put together a final report. And there were about 17 shared kind of common ideas or recommendations that came from those 200 people. The President's Diversity Action Planning Committee actually incorporated 12 or 13 of those into 20 of their goals for the next 5 years. So we felt that the process really worked. We opened up the goals of the committee to the campus community and the wider community, and we asked them, how can we enact these goals? What are some suggestions you have, some actions that you would take to actually pursue these 4 goals? And people responded very well. And the committee chose to incorporate many of those suggestions. So it came full circle.
Right. Now, all of these, we've just kind of touched on some of the major things that you guys are involved in, overriding themes, but this just kind of scratches the surface of what you guys do. How are these, working with the QEP, the Diversity Action Plan, how are those examples of deliberative democracy and the work that you guys do, and really showcasing the importance of that?
Well, we call deliberative democracy choice work. It's different than debate, where there's a winner and a loser, and there's really 2 sides to an issue. It's different from conversation for the sake of conversation, which is fine, but we learn from communicating and dialogue with one another. But deliberative dialogue helps people move from their personal opinions to, as a group, making choices or some judgments. And what we want to emphasize is we want people to be involved and feel like their opinions matter, but when sharing their opinions with one another, they actually can make some collaborative or collective decisions or recommendations and see those happen. And ultimately, that's what being a good citizen is all about. It's becoming knowledgeable about an issue, being able to articulate your own opinions and listen very carefully to others, and then come up with some shared ideas.
And definitely important for us to have, and we thank you for all of your work with that. Now, Greg, we know you have something big coming up in the next few months, and we're going to talk about your big retirement and reflect back on your time here. We'll have that coming up on this edition of GC Conversations.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
And we're back with more of this edition of GC Conversations with Greg Kaufman. Greg, this year is the end of an era, per se, for you. You've spent the better part of a decade here at Georgia College and are set to retire later this year. Take a look back for me over the last almost 10 years. What has been kind of the most influential or the most proud moment, or the thing that you've been most excited to be involved in since you've been here?
That's a tough question to answer. Well, I came here 10 years ago to be the Coverdale Institute director, and I was very honored to be a part of trying to create a legacy for the late Senator and Peace Corps Director Paul Coverdale. And we did a lot of really good things with students, faculty, and staff and the community. We had a series of Liberty lectures that brought some of the best historians from America to our campus. We established the American Democracy Project. We started a series of annual symposiums that have been very widely accepted. So that was a big highlight. But I have to say that really working with students as a teacher has been, just gave me a new lease on life. It was a second career, and I just absolutely loved doing it. It was wonderful to see some former students this past Monday volunteer to come forward and facilitate in our diversity forum that we talked about earlier, and then send me a thank you note for asking them. But it's really my thank you to them. So I've just had some great relationships with people, not only faculty and students, but people in the physical plant and various departments around the campus, because we've really networked completely across the campus.
And you and I have had this conversation before. A lot of your work is kind of on that ground level and bringing troops to the forefront, be it students, be it faculty, to be involved in activities. What is the legacy then that you hope you leave behind here at Georgia College and that continues on from that facilitation?
Well, I think one of the legacies that I hope that to leave behind is just a passion for what it means to be a citizen and an engaged scholar. I think it's incumbent upon us, and it's really a minority of people in the United States that have the opportunity to not only go to college, but actually get a university education and maybe some graduate degrees beyond that. It's a small minority of people, believe it or not. And I think people who are educated have a responsibility to be good citizens and give back to the community. The other legacy, I think, is just plain old civil discourse. And through our Time Stock program of 8 years, we've met now for 8 years every Wednesday at noon. Today is another Time Stock. And we're going to be talking about a recent Georgia legislature law, a very controversial issue of gun carrying law. But we've talked about some very edgy, controversial issues over the years, and have been able to do that in a civil way, where we give a comfortable space and time for people to truly express their opinions. So I think being involved as citizens in the community and knowing how to discuss difficult issues in a civil way are two legacy issues that I'm concerned about.
Now, as part of that legacy, you've actually started transitioning to get students and faculty and staff members to step up to serve as those facilitators, to continue this process and make sure that the flame doesn't die out, per se. How are you working through that process?
Well, one of my personal goals for this year as the ADP director was to develop a sustainability plan. We have an incoming leader who we call the community-based learning director, who will assume coordinating responsibility for the ADP. But there's already a group of students and faculty and staff that have come together and have taken responsibility for specific ADP projects to continue next year. So there's 8 of us are going to the American Democracy Project National Meeting in Louisville, Kentucky this June. And so that's going to be a really nice transition point where we get inspired by what others are doing and come up with some plans and then spend the summer, and I'll be here all summer working together so that the next academic year is a very strong one for the American Democracy Project program.
Now, even though you're retiring from Georgia College, your work as far as civil engagement and activities as such does not end. You have actually received a national recognition named to the National Issues Forum Board. What does that recognition mean to you for something that you've been involved in for quite a while now?
Well, I was surprised and very honored to be nominated and appointed to that, or elected to that position. The National Issues Forum guides the development of issue books for national conversations on everything from education to health to political issues, and they're affiliated with the Kettering Foundation. So we meet on 2 or 3 times a year to just kind of guide that organization. It's been around for over 30 years. So I'm looking forward to the first meeting in Washington, D.C. in May.
Why is this something that's important to you to continue that engagement?
Well, after 40 years of working as a Lutheran minister for 30 and a Georgia College faculty member and staff member for 10 years, it's hard to just kind of cut off and stop working, especially I remain a citizen and will be till my dying day. So I really hope to keep my hand in the work that I've been able to to do with the Kettering Foundation and National Issues Forum and the American Democracy Project. So this gives me a foot in the water that I can kind of stay in there and swim around with everyone else and continue this work on. I've met some wonderful people from all around the country, and I've had an opportunity to facilitate a discussion with state legislators from around the country, and I'm not ready to give those kinds of opportunities up. So, and they're all volunteer. So it's just something that I will do as a citizen volunteer moving forward.
Very good. So even though you still have several months left here and will still be involved on campus and at the national level, what are some words of wisdom that you would have for students, for our community, as far as your passions go in your time here?
I would say that it's a simple statement. You can make a difference. Individuals who are passionate about particular issues can make a difference. I've watched two students this year who are passionate about feeding the hungry locally raise over $12,000. And this coming Saturday at the Centennial Center, they will work with over 100 volunteers, including me, and we will pack 50,000 meals with non-perishable, healthy ingredients. And many of those meals will be distributed through the Baldwin County schools and the YES program over the next year or so. And so it's students like that who realize that they can make a difference that I applaud and I look up to. And I've done it myself, and I've tried to plant the seed in others, and I see it happening all the time, and I just hope that it continues. But we can make a difference with what we're passionate about.
Well, Greg, we thank you for your service, and we thank you for encouraging that passion among all of us here on campus. And best wishes as you move forward to this new chapter.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. That's it for this edition of GC Conversations. You can join us again next time.